In from out of state, welcome to Providence. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here. I just want to make a couple first sort of housekeeping and logistical announcements, and then we're going to open up for what I hope is a productive and meaningful day for all of you, and I hope you'll find it was worth your travel. We worked really hard on today's agenda, and it's all substantive and a good opportunity for us to share best practices and go back home and make all of our cities safer and healthier for all of our constituents. First, you'll see there's a couple members of the local press in the room right now. They've been invited to join us for opening comments. The rest of the day will be closed to press. We are having a midday press conference where we'll be taking questions from the press and reporting on a little bit of what's been discussed. But just for the sake of today's discussion, most of, other than this morning's session, will be closed to press so that we can have a frank and open dialogue and feel comfortable asking questions and sharing insights from our respective communities. Second, as it pertains to social media, for the mayors in the room, we know that many of you have social media presences. You're, of course, invited and encouraged to share your own participation today, but we ask that you not directly attribute or tweet other mayors' comments, and keep your own social media to your own reflections if you would. Third, if you haven't found them yet, just for logistical purposes, of course, breakfast and coffee is outside. Restrooms are out to the left and around the corner. There's many members of staff here who will be happy to show you the way. Fourth, if it wasn't clear, there is an optional tour at the end of today's session. The City of Providence has just opened a overdose prevention center. Some of you may also know this is a safe injection site. And so I know there's some curiosity about that, and the partner who runs that, which is a group called Project Buckle Renew, will be here at some point today, has offered any mayors who are interested in seeing that facility to go take a tour. We will facilitate transportation. It is open and available to anyone who wants to join us. It will start after we've finished today's session. And then finally, I want to give a really warm thank you to my staff and the U.S. Conference of Mayors staff. This is a lot of work pulling this together, and the USCM staff supports me and the other mayors who are members throughout the year, and we're going to talk about membership at some point midday. But it's an honor for me to be able to host here in Providence, and members of my staff who are in the back there. Most importantly, my Deputy Chief of Staff, Matt Shoemate, has put in countless hours to make today happen, so I wanted to thank them for their incredibly hard work. All right, well, so welcome to Providence. I'm sure like many of you, public safety is a centerpiece of my priorities here in the city. And all of us in cities around the region and around the country are struggling to provide a safe city, but also a city that respects and welcomes all members of our community. In the last couple of weeks in particular, we've been confronted with challenges of new direction coming from the federal government. We're also, of course, dealing with the housing crisis and the way in which it manifests our city in the form of the unhoused. We are continuing to struggle with the opioid crisis, and we're all plagued with far too many guns in our communities and the scourge of gun violence. These are all topics that we'll be discussing today. We're excited to bring in some local community partners here in Providence, but then other partners around the region and around the country to share their expertise. We worked hard to structure today's agenda such that there'll be presentations from experts facilitated by colleague mayors, but then plenty of room for discussion and questions in each session. We have a lot to cover in a short period of time, and so we're not going to belabor the opening too long other than to say one of my roles with the Mayor's Conference is to serve as the co-chair of the Mayor's Police Task Force nationally. My police chief, who I'll introduce in just a second here, Colonel Oscar Perez, and I were with Fort Worth Mayor Matthew Parker in Texas last year. And in addition to the really high-value content of that convening, I also found it hugely valuable to just be able to have some time out of the office with my chief, not dealing with the day-to-day, what happened, what incident just occurred, what do we need to know. And so I hope that all of you also are able to benefit a little bit from some time out of the office with your chief, because there is no, I have found, no relationship more important than the relationship between the mayor and his or her chief. the level of trust and confidence that needs to occur going in both directions is vital. And so having this time together, and I'm so grateful that nearly everyone came as a pair, is hopefully will yield benefits, not just in the content that you hear today, but in the deepening of your relationship and a chance to talk and discuss and to brainstorm away from the day-to-day fray and stress of all of our jobs. And so thank you for taking this time. Thank you for investing in your city and sharing, I think, all of America's mayor's priorities to make our cities safer and healthier for all of our constituents. I'd like to give a chance for my chief to introduce himself. Colonel Oscar Perez is the 39th Police Chief here in Providence. He was appointed in January of 2023. He was, we're going to hear a little bit later from our former police chief who went on to lead the COPS office. I got elected and a week after the city's longest serving chief told me he was leaving, and had to do a chief search in my first month in office. And so Colonel Oscar Perez was selected through that process, and it's the best decision I've made as mayor. And so I'd like to have a chance for the Colonel to introduce himself, and then we'll hear from him a couple times throughout the day today.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here. I tell you, it's a privilege and an honor to welcome you all, especially my fellow chiefs, mayors, the director of the U.S. Conference and mayors. This is a great city. I'll tell you, being the capital city, we pride ourselves in the diverse communities that we have. Obviously, it's a beautiful city. There's a lot to do, and make sure you enjoy yourself. My name is Oscar Perez. I have the privilege to work in this department and lead the men and women of the city. But I also have the privilege to work with a good man here, and not only my boss, but my friend. And I've had a chance to learn a lot from him, and I will continue to do so. I also look forward to this meeting. I think it's important for all of us to share ideas, have good conversations, and strengthen our partnerships. I think it's important in order for us to keep our city safe and also stay connected. We're not that far from each other. And there may be ideas that you're using that we need to know, and there may be ideas that we have that you need to know. And so it's important for me to have this, and I totally appreciate it. Enjoy the city. We have a lot to see. Like I said, we're priding ourselves in the community that we have. We're very vibrant when it comes to culture and arts. There's great food. Make sure you spend some money for it. And so I look forward to meeting all of you. And if you need anything from me or my offices, we're here. We know that you're all here. We want to make sure that we host the proper way. If you need anything at all, I'm here, and my offices are here. Welcome to the city of Providence. Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel. Next, I'd like to introduce our leader of the Mayor's Conference. Tom Cochran is the CEO and Executive Director of the U.S. Conference of Mayors, and has been an exemplary leader of this organization for decades, and knows what it takes to support mayors to do great work in the country.
Thank you so much, Mayor. I was struck by what you said about you and the police chiefs coming together and having trust. It was several years ago, at the age of 12, I had a guy named Pat Murphy on my staff. He's the father of community policing. And Laura was with me, and she still is. We've been through it. So we had a meeting in Tampa, Florida. I said, and what happened is the police chiefs and the mayor stood up, and one police chief said, well, I can't be seen with my mayor in a restaurant. I can't even go to his house to, cook hamburgers. And I said to myself, Seth, something's wrong with this picture. And so we formed this task force, Mayor. This is the only task force that we have with non-elected individuals. And so through the years, we have been ever more related to police and giving you the support that you need. We had drive-by shootings in the 90s when President Clinton called us to the White House and said, what do you need? What do you need? And we went to Chicago and came up with a plan, and we ended up with 100,000 cops. And we banned the AK-47. As you know, they were banned for 10 years. And crime did go down. There's a lot of good things in the 94 crime bill, even though, you'll hear critics, etc. And so and since then, we have gone through the Obama years when we had Chuck Ramsey, who is on our staff as an advisor. When he's not on CNN, he's talking to us, and he's giving us advice. And we had the Breonna Taylor situation in Louisville, and Prominent, we got a task force headed up by Laura Lightfoot of Chicago, pushing for reforms. Wellington Webb, the mayor of Denver, was speaking to the German parliament, and he said, you know, if you don't have a safe city, you don't have a city. And so I want you all to know that this issue of supporting you and what you do every day is very much on our minds. We appreciate so much your leadership, Mayor Smiley, as we go forward. We're very concerned as to what is going on now with Congress. They have a bill that that we are opposed to. It's a bailout for sanctuary cities. And we had an emergency meeting about this last week. And the mayor president, who was a former police chief, said, you know, I'm not going to have Congress define what a sanctuary city is. So you are challenged right now to, in addition to everything else you do, as a marital counselor, as a mental counselor, you're now asked to do something that the Fed should be doing, and that is the whole question of immigration. And, you know, Mayor Cox said, you know, you can't grow cocaine in America, but yet it's in our backyard, and the federal government should do something about it. So we appreciate the turbulence we're going through right now. We're here to learn and to do what we can to do everything we can to kill that bill. It's not right for the Congress to determine who is a sanctuary city. And that bill would cut not only money coming from in law enforcement, it would go across the board into other domestic programs, and that's unconscionable. So with that, thank you again, Ms. Smiley, for bringing this great group of mayors. We're so pleased to be here in New England and look forward to coming back when it's a little bit warmer. We must go forward, and thank you so much again for your leadership.
Thank you, Tom. And yes, you will all be invited back, by the way, in June of 2027 when Providence is hosting the U.S. Conference of Mayors. It will be much warmer, I promise. At this point, we'd ask the press to please leave the room so that we can continue on with the meeting. Again, we'll have an open press conference in about 2 hours. We appreciate everyone's respect for these ground rules.